Hey everybody, it's me, Remy, the comic book poser. I'm here today to welcome you to End of the Poserverse. It's Monday, so you know what that means. It's time to talk the top 5-ish comics from last week's new comic book day that if you missed out, you should pick up on this week's new comic book day. So to see what exactly makes the list, you'll have to check it out after this.
Hey, little girl, did you want to know a secret?
I got 5 on it. 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Couple of quick announcements. Number one, at the end of this video, I will drop in the winner of the Super Chat giveaway of the Cthulhu Invades Oz hardcover. We had to end Shop Talk a little abruptly since I had a sad Charlie wake up and he was like, "You're done, Dad." So I'll drop that in at the very end. Speaking of, Shop Talk this Thursday night, 9:30 Central. We have another interview lined up with the creator of one of my favorite ape-themed Kickstarter published comics. We got Manny from El Crudo coming to chat with the crew tonight, and he's going to give us details on the freshly launched El Crudo number 5, which has just gone live on Kickstarter. Number 2, movie night will resume on this upcoming Sunday. We've got The Avengers and another superhero team-up movie. We took this last week off because it was apparently WrestleMania needs 2 days now. Next year it'll need a week. And I think that's it. AEW streams on Wednesday and Friday, and who knows if I got a Whatnot auction. I got a bunch of pops that you'll see in a bunch of slab unboxings that we may have another pop-up slab auction. But without further ado, let's talk books. No real honorable mentions this week, but I am going to talk about Team Spider. Spider-Woman 21 is the end of the series. You were gone too soon after 21 issues. Hopefully we get more Spider-Woman soon. This is responsible for making me fall in love with all of the Spider-Women, and I'm ready to party with more. That brings me to this one. Spider-Man 93. The end of the Beyond arc. I feel like I have not said a single bad thing about ASM during this run. I think this was the worst book of the series, that I don't think they stuck the landing. Please, if you think I'm wrong, let me know in the comments down below, but Jelly and I didn't get to talk about this on Shop Talk. We've been consuming Spider-Man like mad, but we both kind of text each other on Friday, and we're like, yeah, no es bueno. Coming in at number 5 from Marvel Comics. I thought this was a book that I was not going to fall in love with. Issue number 1 I was pleased with. Issue number 2, Ghost Rider, makes the list. So this is issue 2. It's by Benjamin Percy, Corey Smith, and Brett Peoples on the art. Roberto Poggi, Oren Jr., and Brent Peoples on the ink. Brian Valencia is the colorist, and VC's Travis Lanham is the letterer. So, I don't know a whole heck of a lot about Ghost Rider, but I really feel like I enjoyed in issue number 1 kind of the build-up of who Johnny Blaze is as a man, kind of dealing with all of these, pain and existential issues, and then the weird Ghost Rider shit happens towards the end, and he's like, I gotta get out. In issue number 2, right, he leaves and has no recollection of where he is, but he knows that he needs to find himself, and he shows up at the Cave Inn. And I like the idea of the Cave Inn. It's a funny name. It's in a mining town. He reads a report that people have gone missing along a highway in Oregon. We get a little bit more intel on the 2 FBI agents who are kind of tracking him. But he says that he's going to do any work necessary in this hotel, and we learn that this is basically the hotel. It's the Puro Courts from Hotel Volumes 1 and 2, where he's just seeing all kinds of creepy stuff, and then all of a sudden when he's got a, flame on, isn't that what terrible Nicolas Cage said in the movie? That he discovers that there's some kind of beast that's being fed, people from the hotel, and apparently they're only allowed to roam, or they think they're allowed to roam now because Johnny Blaze is gone. So, I am loving everything that Ben Percy is touching right now, right? I gush over his Wolverine work on The Frequent and anything else, and I'm like, oh crap, Ben Percy's writing this? That I'm firmly on this is a writer that I'm going to follow any of his work camp, but real good. Coming in at number 4, another Marvel book. This time it's Silver Surfer Rebirth number 3. Again, we had such a good time with everybody who showed up to talk Cthulhu Invades Wonderland that we didn't get to talk Rebirth, and J1 was also sick. So we're probably going to talk about it this week on Shop Talk as well. But we are getting kind of the different universes that Silver Surfer and Thanos are kind of hopping through now that they're on, their quest to find the stones. I really think the art in this is beautiful, that Ron Lim is absolutely crushing the art here. But we get that. We get, Thanos, Nebula kind of arc where she sicks a bunch of robots on him. And then Thanos is out. That's a pretty cool, big page of art. And there were a million ads for Savage Avengers this week, and I'm bad at paying attention to Twitter, but there's a good chance that we might get David Pepos, who is writing this book, but who also wrote things like the OZ and Scout's Honor, that we might be talking to David soon. We might get somebody who is currently writing for Marvel. But as we kind of work through this, they're still trying to figure out what the end game is. That we know that there's still people making moves behind the scenes, that, yet again we see the Jack of Hearts kind of unfold on the last page or two, as we have in the first 2 issues. But I think it's really coming together, and we get to see the Silver Surfers in issue number 4, and I think Jack of Hearts is going to be a bigger deal in issue number 4, only because we get Jack's back, right? We get a big cover reveal of what's going on there. But again, Ron Mars, I think, is doing a good job making the Silver Surfer relevant after we've seen him kind of played with in Silver Surfer Black, and then little bits of the beginning of Donny Cates' Thor run, where I really like how this is panning out. I really like the use of Thanos in a way that is far different, since we feel like we're kind of living in that Thanos overload from just him in the MCU, him being the big bad in a lot of series, that I feel like seeing Thanos as a potential hero in this light is an interesting way to kind of bring Thanos and that Infinity Watch element kind of back in, which is something that I'm very, very big fan of. Coming in at number 3 is a book that wasn't even on my pull list, because I'm bad at the internet. But from Image Comics, we get Zombie vs. Robots Classics, number 1 by Chris Rydell and Ashley Wood. Now, my understanding of this is that this is a reprint of the Zombie vs. Robot Classic stories, and now the Zigzag Publishing has the ability to now move the story around and take it to other places. I have not read original Zombie vs. Robots, but this is the same team that has put Reign together. But you just kind of get good attitude. I absolutely love the art that is played out throughout all of this, that for the same reasons that I loved, like, Freak Snow from Behemoth Happy Tank, and why I like some of the stuff that's happening in Reign now, is that the art really lends itself to the intensity of the storytelling in a very, very intelligent way. But yeah, we get a new version of Zombie vs. Robots Classic. I also believe that this is the first of a 4-part series, and then I think Zombie vs. Robots is going to be something coming out as its own through Image, which I think is also pretty cool. Coming in at number 2 is going to be a book that I thought was going to be my pick of the week. It's Something is Killing the Children, number 21. This is, again, the team is back together again after a break. We've got James Tynion, Werther Daldera, and Mikel Muerto on the colors. So Erica Slaughter is back, and we get a new first page introduction to a young person who is covered in blood asking for a lawyer. And as, the panels, go on, we learn that this person was discovered by a sheriff who is wanting to make sure that they are taken care of, that they are not thrown into the system, and they are in the aptly named Tribulation, New Mexico. Because if, a tiny smidge of some of the things that happened in Archer's Peak were to happen in another place, then Tribulation may be a bit of an understatement. But they get dropped off at a bar owned by a friend of the family, and we start to learn what this child discovered in terms of very graphically disembodied members of the family. And, we're dealing with them kind of learning and, coping. We see some good emotional handling. And, of course, sure, this is the last page, but it's not a spoiler, because she's on the front cover. Out of the blue, like a true hero, Erica Slaughter shows up and says, "You want to talk?" So, I like this. I think, as I wrote about it on the blog post, that sure, it's a bit formulaic in terms of matching some of the things that we got from issue 1, but instead of a direct telling of the story like we got from James, the kid in the first 2 issues, here we're getting it told by the sheriff to a family friend. So I'm guessing as Erica and this new Erica-like child in Tribulation, New Mexico, start working together, communicating together, that we'll be able to start hearing things from her side of the story. And then there was one. What was able to unseat Something Is Killing the Children? The last book that I read this week. I still have 3 things left, but it's my Ninja Turtles and Almost American catch-up, so if either of those are good, I'll write about them, I'll tweet about them. But what shocked me is what vaulted its way to the top, and it's another Marvel heavy week, y'all. Your pick of the week is Hulk Grand Design Monster by Jim Rugg. There are a couple of things that make me fall in love with this. First, I'm still kind of nostalgic to the newsprinty page days of comics, and the only other publisher that I have seen do newsprint pages on the regular is Alterna Comics. But, this felt like if I am reading kind of a truncated story about the Hulk, then this just kind of feels right, that I'm flipping through the literal early days of the Hulk story. And what you kind of find out in the last 2 or 3 pages is, if you are intrigued by some of the events that tell the beginning of the story of the Hulk, because this gets from Hulk 1 to Hulk 300, so from 1962 to 1984, you're getting little bits of more storytelling, issue footnotes, things like that. But as I said, I'm not somebody who knows a whole heck of a lot about the Incredible Hulk and the different ways that he's been used, and I really feel like that this is one of those, history of the Marvel Universe kinds of books where you are seeing a story woven together by a creator that is footnoting their work all over the place. And I like what Jim Rugg is doing in this, that I know there's Grand Design Monster, but I also think there's a second Grand Design title that's coming out that, if I remember it, I'll screenshot it and put it up here as well. But I think I liked it just because it was different, right? I got the nostalgia of the newsprint pages. I got the information of learning about, I'm reading current arc of the Hulk now, and I'm like, oh, this is kind of cool. That I feel, more enriched from reading how the Hulk is currently being used by, right, that 20 years mushed together in a bunch of different Hulk stories in one easy to read and digestible kind of story progress. So that's it. What do you think about my picks? I'm always intrigued to chat with the people who are here in the premiere. So if you're hanging out over here, I know we're chopping it up. But if you're watching this on the rewind, let me know in the comments down below. And don't forget to come back tomorrow and comment on that pull list video where you can get your entry into this week's poser pile. As always, y'all, thanks for stopping by. And have a good one.
Hey, little girl, did you want to know a secret?
I got 5 on it. 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.